This week, the internet didn't just spill tea, it drowned in it. Everywhere you looked, chaos was brewing, from influencers facing lawsuits against billion-dollar brands, to wild accusations of plastic surgery, to one of the strangest celebrity impersonator stories ever told. And in the middle of it all, the fractures inside Tana Mongeau's infamous friend group seemed to widen beyond repair. What started as whispers online turned into full-blown spectacles. A Love Island star tried proving her body was natural in the weirdest way possible. Bella Thorne shocked the internet by bending the rules of tradition. A fake Justin Bieber fooled fans in Vegas. And the music world, it got hit with one of the strangest feuds of the year, Lana Del Rey versus Ethel Kane. But to understand why this week had people glued to their screens, let's start where it all began, with a photo no one asked for and drama no one saw coming. Andreina from Love Island. Season 7 thought she was shutting down rumors. Instead, she ended up making them worse. For weeks, fans online had been speculating that her body wasn't natural, that she had secretly gone under the knife for a BBL. Andreina was tired of it. And so, she decided to prove the haters wrong. How? By posting a photo of herself as a baby. Yes, you heard that right. A baby picture, sleeping face down in a diaper with the caption, "And they want to say I got a BBL." Almost instantly, the backlash was brutal. Fans weren't laughing. They were confused, horrified, even uncomfortable. Comments flooded in. "Girl, we don't want to be looking at you as a baby to imagine what kind of body you'd grow into." Others pointed out how bizarre it was to dig up childhood photos just to deny surgery rumors. Some tried to defend her, saying maybe she meant it as a joke, that diapers make babies' bums look bigger. But even then, the attempt fell flat. People suggested that if she really wanted to make a point, she should have shared pictures from her teenage years, not from infancy. In the end, Andreina admitted she had undergone breast augmentation, but insisted she never touched her body otherwise. Still, the internet didn't care. The damage was done. And instead of silencing the speculation, her baby photo stunt only added fuel to the fire. And just when you thought influencer choices couldn't get any stranger, Bella Thorne decided to rewrite the rules of love itself. Bella Thorne has never played by the rules, but this week, even her fans weren't sure how to react. On Instagram, she shared a video of herself kneeling down on one knee and proposing to her fiancé. At first glance, it seemed sweet, but there was one small catch. He had already proposed to her a year earlier. Her caption read, "3 years ago we met. 1 year later, he proposed. Now 1 year later, so did I." To Bella, it was a symbol of equality, proof that love doesn't have to follow a script. But to much of the internet, it was pure cringe. Comment sections erupted with mockery. "Bella, babe, stand up. Do not do that." Others claimed men didn't need any more encouragement to lean into what they called energetically feminine roles. Of course, Bella's fans jumped to defend her. They praised the move as romantic, bold, and a rejection of outdated gender norms. Some called it girl power at its finest. Bella herself seemed unbothered, liking comments, posting hearts, and even writing on her story. "The comments on my post are hilarious. Half of you say this is the sweetest thing ever. Half of you say we shouldn't normalize it. Honestly, I don't care. Love her or hate her, Bella had done what she always does, spark a cultural debate by breaking tradition." But while Bella was rewriting the rules of romance, another influencer was preparing for a battle of a very different kind, inside a courtroom. If Bella was bending traditions of love, Josh Richards was ready to bend the law in his favor. This week, news broke that Josh is suing Poppi, the billion-dollar sparkling soda company that's become one of the hottest brands online. For years, influencers have been showing off those pastel-colored cans, turning Poppi into a status symbol. And Josh? He wasn't just a promoter. He was an investor. Josh claims he was promised a payday that never arrived. He reportedly owns 538 shares in the company and had a deal that went beyond investment. According to his lawsuit, Josh was supposed to use his influence, bringing along friends like Bryce Hall, Blake Gray, and Griffin Johnson to push Poppy into the mainstream. The company, in turn, allegedly promised him certain benefits and payouts. But when Poppy exploded in value earlier this year, Josh says he was left empty-handed. His lawsuit accuses Poppy's parent company, along with its founders Stephen and Allison, of fraud, breach of contract, and negligent misrepresentation. In simple terms, he feels he was tricked, misled, and ultimately cheated out of money he rightfully earned. The influencer-turned-investor world is already murky, but this case highlights just how risky these partnerships can be. For every influencer who cashes out on a successful brand, there's another who gets caught in endless legal battles. And while Josh was battling it out in courtrooms, fans in Vegas were facing an entirely different kind of deception, one that had them screaming, taking selfies, and believing they were standing in front of Justin Bieber himself. It sounds like a bad punchline. A Justin Bieber impersonator sneaks onto a Vegas stage. But this week, it actually happened. At the Wynn, one of the most exclusive resorts in Las Vegas, an elaborate scam somehow let a Bieber lookalike and his so-called team convince security that he was the real deal. Not only did he get backstage access, he actually made it on stage. Fans, already a few drinks deep, were convinced they had just witnessed Bieber himself. Some took selfies, some posted on social media. Even the DJ performing at the time thought he was standing next to the real Justin Bieber. By the time security realized the truth, it was too late. The impersonator had already made his moment. Wynn officials later released a statement saying he and his team had staged a multi-step ruse, and they were now permanently banned from the resort. The internet couldn't stop laughing. How could this possibly get so far? Did he really look that convincing? Or are people simply so desperate for a celebrity sighting that they'll believe anyone on stage with a microphone? Whatever the answer, the story was a reminder that in today's celebrity culture, illusion is often just as powerful as reality. And speaking of illusions, no feud blurred the line between music, image, and personal drama more than the one that erupted between Lana Del Rey and Ethel Kane. The music industry is no stranger to rivalries, but this one felt different, messy, cryptic, and straight out of Tumblr-era drama. It all started years back when Lana Del Rey was first linked to musician Jack Donahue from the band Salem. The two posed for a strange photo outside of Chicago's Cook County Jail in 2022. The picture quickly went viral. It was dark, dramatic, and perfectly Lana. But then, not long after, Ethel Kane, another rising name in the alt music world, posted her own photo with Jack in a similar style. Fans immediately read it as shade, almost like Ethel was deliberately mocking Lana's pose. Fast forward, and Lana seemed to reference the whole situation in her music. In one track, she sang, "Ethel Kane hated my Instagram post, think it's cute, reenacting my Chicago pose." Another lyric went, "The most famous girl in the Waffle House." Coincidence? Hardly. That line echoed the title of a New York Times profile written about Ethel. The most famous girl at the Waffle House. The internet exploded. Was Lana actually shading Ethel through her lyrics? Or was she simply using clever cultural references? Ethel didn't stay silent. She posted on her Instagram story that Lana had blocked her. That move alone sent shockwaves. Why block someone if there wasn't real tension? Lana, for her part, doubled down with an explanation in her comments. She claimed she never knew who Ethel was until a few years ago, but that fans pointed out Ethel had been posting cruel side-by-side edits, comparing Lana to cartoonish creatures and mocking her weight. Lana said she was disturbed when she heard Ethel was also making unkind remarks behind the scenes. Suddenly, this wasn't just a lyrical feud. It was accusations of body shaming, personal digs, and unwanted intrusion into Lana's private life. And then, Nicki Minaj jumped in. Out of nowhere, Nicki tweeted about the lyric, singing it, joking about it, and essentially giving Lana's line-free promo. Her words, "I've been singing 'Ethel Kane hated my Instagram post all morning, help.'" The feud spiraled into memes, stan wars, and endless debates about who was right. Was Lana defending herself, or was Ethel being unfairly dragged by a pop culture giant? Either way, the internet had its new obsession. But while musicians were feuding online, another world, the influencer world, was on fire. Because inside Tana Mongeau's friend group, friendships weren't just cracking, they were shattering. For years, Tana Mongeau's friend group was more like an empire. They toured together, podcasted together, and turned their chaos into content. But this summer, that empire started to crumble. First came whispers of tension between Tana and Brooke Schofield, her co-host on the wildly successful canceled podcast. When news broke that the show was ending, fans immediately assumed it was because the two couldn't stand each other anymore. Then, at Tana's birthday, Ashley, one of her closest friends, gave her a custom clue game featuring the friend group. Cute, right? Not exactly. Fans thought the way Brooke was portrayed in the game felt shady, almost like a subtle dig. At the same time, Brooke's longtime best friend BB suddenly wasn't her friend anymore. These two had been inseparable for years, constantly glued to each other's side. Now, they unfollowed each other, stopped speaking, and the internet noticed. And who swooped in? Paige. Paige and BB started posting together nonstop. Sunny Angel unboxings, funny videos, matching vibes. Overnight, they became the new duo. And fans couldn't help but see it as Brooke being replaced. TikTok creators started speculating, making videos about Tana's collapsing friend group. One video went so viral that Tana herself stepped in, clearly frustrated. She commented that she wanted no part in these made-up friendship drama narratives. The original TikTok creator even apologized, admitting they only made the video for views and income but never meant to drag Tana into the mud. Still, the damage was done. Meanwhile, Paige fueled the conversation on Jeff FM. She admitted that during tour, Brooke and BB's friendship turned sour, mainly because Brooke hired BB as her assistant. According to Paige, that move was doomed from the start. 1. You can't hire a friend as an assistant. 2. You can't just expect them to be your slave, she said. The fallout was real. The podcast ending, Brooke losing her closest friendships, Tana distancing herself, Paige and BB suddenly inseparable. The friend group dynamics had shifted completely. But the most telling part? Brooke herself finally broke her silence, admitting why canceled had to end. After weeks of speculation, Brooke finally spoke out, and her explanation painted a much darker picture than anyone expected. On a recent podcast appearance, she admitted that the decision to end canceled wasn't just about creative differences. It was about survival. Brooke confessed that the podcast had become toxic. What once felt fun, sharing wild stories, dragging exes, joking about chaos, had turned into a magnet for hate. She said, "It's just a dark world now. It's not fun for us anymore. The show was toxic, we were toxic, and we invited an audience that thrived on that toxicity. It backfired. Now we just get so much hate. It's too much." Her words hit hard. This wasn't the usual influencer excuse. This was someone admitting that fame itself had started to eat them alive. Brooke went on to say that she'd do another podcast in the future, but only if it had a smaller audience. She wanted peace, not millions of people dissecting her every move. For fans, it was bittersweet. On one hand, they finally had clarity. On the other, it meant the chaotic, unpredictable world of canceled was truly gone. And as Brooke stepped back into the shadows, it became clear. Tana's empire of friends, feuds, and fame was entering a new era, one that might not be as invincible as it once seemed. Looking back, this week wasn't just another scroll through influencer headlines. It was a collision of scandals that revealed exactly how fragile internet fame really is. A Love Island star tried to shut down rumors with a baby photo, and ended up creating even more. Thorne challenged tradition with a proposal that split the internet in half. Josh Richards turned a brand partnership into a courtroom battle. A fake Justin Bieber conned his way onto a Vegas stage. Lana Del Rey and Ethel Kane turned cryptic lyrics into a full-blown feud. And Tana Mongeau's once unshakable friend group cracked under the weight of its own drama. Each story on its own was wild enough. Together, they painted a picture of what the internet has truly become, a place where every post, every comment, every friendship, and every rumor can spiral into cultural spectacle. So maybe the real takeaway isn't whether Bella should have proposed, or whether Andrina really had surgery, or whether Lana was shading Ethel. The real question is, how much chaos can this culture handle before it finally collapses? Because if this week proved anything, it's that drama isn't just entertainment anymore, it's survival. And next week, there's no telling who's going to be at the center of it.